The theory of evolution and the origin of species are two related but distinct concepts in biology. The theory of evolution explains how living organisms change over time through natural selection, genetic drift, mutation, and other mechanisms. The origin of species describes how new species arise from existing ones through speciation, which is the splitting of a single evolutionary lineage into a two or more genetically isolated populations. Speciation is the evolutionary process by which new and distinct species are formed in the course of evolution. Species are groups of organisms that can interbreed and produce fertile offspring. Speciation occurs when some members of a species become reproductively isolated from rest of the population, meaning that they can no longer exchange genes with them. This can happen due to various factors such as geographical barriers, ecological differences, behavioral changes, or genetic mutation. There are two closely related ways to define isolation, and that is one is by mechanism, another is by type. One way to define a species by its ability to interbreed with other members of its group. However, there are some factors that prevent interbreeding from occurring, even among closely related organisms. These factors called isolation mechanism, and they are currently classified into five types: ecological, temporal, behavioral, mechanical or chemical, and geographical. Ecological isolation occurs when two species occupy different habitats or niches within the same area. Temporal isolation occurs when two species have different breeding seasons or times of day. Behavioral isolation occurs when two species have different mating rituals or signals that attract potential mates. Mechanical or chemical isolation occurs when two species have incompatible reproductive structures or gametes. Geographical isolation occurs when two species are separated by physical barriers such as mountains, rivers, or oceans. There are four main types of speciation, depending on how the reproductive isolation is achieved. Allopatric speciation occurs when populations are geographically separated and cannot exchange genes. Peripatric speciation is a special case of allopatric speciation where a small and isolated population diverges from a larger one. Sympatric speciation occurs when populations share the same habitat but become reproductively isolated due to factors such as behavioral, temporal, or ecological differences. Parapatric speciation occurs when populations are adjacent but have different habitats and mate preferences. According to theory of evolution, natural selection and speciation are closely related as natural selection is one of the main drivers of speciation. By creating adaptations that suit different environments and lifestyles, natural selection and can generate diversity within and between populations. This diversity can then lead to reproductive isolation and speciation, resulting in more diversity at higher levels of biological organization. According to theory of evolution, the relation between mutations and speciation is that mutations are one of the sources of genetic variation that can lead to formation of species. Mutations can create new alleles or change the frequency of existing alleles in a population, which can affect its adaptation to the environment and its reproductive compatibility with other population. Speciation occurs when reproductive barriers prevent gene flow between populations and result in genetic diversions. Mutations can contribute to speciation by creating chromosomal variations, incompatible alleles, or advantageous recessive alleles that favor inbreeding. The flaws in the theory of origin of species are life. That one is life originates from brainless matter. It is the very basis on which theory of evolution is founded. Factually, life comes from life, so whole theory is flawed. Second is DNA plays a key role in speciation, as it is the source of genetic variation and the target of natural selection. Almost all organisms come with DNA. DNA is the blueprint of every organism. As one cannot build a huge airport without architecture and structured plan, similarly, organisms cannot be manufactured without DNA code. DNA is the basis for every organism function. Evolutionists have professed that natural selection creates a variance in DNA. Over billion years of small modifications create changes in genes that eventually make single-celled organism into a programmer. This looks fascinating, but problem is this method has not been proved. Rather, its contrary prevail. Number three, if we take evolution as a method of random mutation and natural selection through which all living organisms have come into existence by mere chance from a single set common ancestor over a time of billions and billions of years, then we don't have a sound basis. The idea that diversity of life is a result of random mutation and natural selection is neither supported by empirical evidence nor is supported by scientific principle. It is a baseless fancy. If life comes from life, then from where life comes. Second, as DNA code is the basis for the development of any organism, then how this code was first generated.